Quarter 2, Module 1, Microscopy.
We define microscopy as the science or the study of investigating small objects and structures using a microscope. Kapag pinag-aaralan natin yung mga bagay sa paligid natin gamit ang microscope, ang tawag doon is microscopy. The word microscope comes from two words. The prefix micro means very small, to the point na hindi natin makikita gamit ang ating mga mata lang, while scope means to look at or para tingnan. Therefore, ang ibig sabihin ng microscope is isang tool or apparatus na pwede nating gamitin para tingnan yung mga maliliit na mga bagay or organisms. Pag sinabi nating organisms, these are living things. In other words, microscope is a tool that we can use to look at very small objects or organisms. Microscope is a tool that magnifies the image of an object being observed. Ang ibig sabihin ng word na magnifies is increase the size or palakihin ang image ng object na nakikita natin. Para mas maunawaan natin kung anong ginagawa ng microscope, tignan natin ang mga sumusunod na mga pictures. Ang unang picture ay image ng isang ant na kinunan gamit ang isang cellphone camera. Paano mo i-describe ang image na ito? Or paano mo ilalarawan or ano ang masasabi mo tungkol sa image na ito? Isulat ang iyong sagot sa iyong answer sheet. Sa pangalawang picture naman, ito ay image ng ant na nakita gamit ang scanning electron microscope. Ano naman ang masasabi mo tungkol sa image na ito? The discovery of the microscope opened the world of microorganisms. Dahil sa pagkakadiskubre o pagkakagawa ng microscope, mas nagkaroon ng idea ang mga tao tungkol sa microorganisms. Microorganisms ay, again, ang micro, ibig sabihin, ay very small, at yung organism naman ay living things. So, ibig sabihin ng microorganisms ay very small, living things na hindi natin nakikita. These are bacteria, virus, protists, and fungi. Microscope led to many discoveries in the field of science. Dahil nalaman natin yung tungkol sa mga microorganisms na iyon, maraming mga naging discoveries about science. Mas lumawak yung kaalaman natin tungkol sa mga bagay sa paligid natin. Nalaman natin yung mga disease-causing organisms. So, imagine kung walang microscope ngayon at nagkaroon ng COVID-19. Hindi natin alam kung bakit maraming namamatay. Hindi natin alam kung ano yung dahilan. At dahil di natin alam yung dahilan, hindi natin malalaman kung paano maiiwasan na mahawa tayo o kung paano natin ito malulunasan. Kaya, buti na lang may microscope na nagagamit ang mga scientists para maintindihan ang tungkol sa virus. At dahil alam na nila yung characteristics ng virus na ito, makagagawa sila ng vaccine. So to further discuss the application of microscope, sagutan natin ang activity na ito. Identify the following whether they are applications of microscope or not. Kapag application ng microscope, isusulat nyo sa papel ang A. Kapag hindi naman, isusulat nyo ang B. So number 1, microscope is used in observing celestial bodies such as planets, stars, meteors, and etc. Is it an A or B? The answer is B. Kasi yung ginagamit natin para pag-aralan ng mga planets ay telescope, not microscope. Ang microscope ay ginagamit para makita yung mga very small na objects or organisms. Number 2, the microscope is used in microbiology and parasitology to identify different types of bacteria and parasites. The answer is A. Microbiology is the study of microorganisms such as bacteria and viruses. Yung parasitology naman is the study of parasite. So number 2 is an application of a microscope kasi di natin makikita yung bacteria and parasites without using a microscope. Number 3, the microscope is used in hematology to observe different types of blood cells so that they can be counted and categorized and checked for abnormalities. The answer for number 3 is an A. Hematology has something to do with the blood. Study about blood and its composition, which needs microscope para mas mapag-aralan yung structure niya. Number 4, the microscope can be used in diagnosis of different illness. Number 4 is an A, because illnesses are commonly caused by microorganisms. So, mas malalaman natin yung sakit na ito kung meron tayong microscope. Number 5, a short forecast for people born under a particular sign, especially as published in a newspaper or magazine. The answer for this is B, kasi yung sinasabi ditong forecast under particular signs, which are zodiac signs, ay horoscope, not microscope. Number 6, a toy consisting of a tube containing mirrors and pieces of colored glass or paper, whose reflections produce changing patterns that are visible through an eye hole when the tube is rotated. The answer for this is B. Ang dinidescribe dito ay yung kaleidoscope, na may makikita tayong parang dancing patterns like this. So, hindi siya for microscope. 7. Microscope is used to study organisms in a more detailed perspective. The answer is A. Through microscope, mas nakikita natin yung details about the structure ng isang microorganism. And last number 8, the microscope is used in urine analysis to check for the presence of various types of crystals and white blood cells, which could indicate a bladder infection. The answer is A. Ginagamit ang microscope for urine analysis. So now, sa inyong Module 1, pages 2 to 3, you will answer Activity 1. Ang title ay Microscope are Lens in the World of Microorganisms. Ang objective ng activity na ito is for you to describe a microscope and its uses, and to describe the parts of a microscope and its uses. Sa number 1, nakalagay dyan na study the microscope in the table below. Ito ay picture ng isang klase o isang type ng microscope which is called compound microscope. Sa number 1, study lang the illustration. Tingnan nyo lang yung pictures at i-describe nyo yung microscope na nasa picture. Like yung parts niya, ano yung masasabi mo sa picture niya. Sa number 2 naman, compare the pictures below. Take note of the tool used to capture these images and how it can be useful for a scientist or professional studying ants. Ito yung dalawang pictures na nakita natin kanina. Yung unang picture is an ant na kinunan ng picture gamit ang cellphone camera. Yung isa naman ay ant din na tiningnan under a scanning microscope. I-compare nyo yung picture ng dalawa kung ano yung pagkakaiba nila and answer the questions that follow. So, ito yung questions. Sa letter A, what is the difference between the two images in terms of the details you can observe from the subject? Ano yung pagkakaiba ng two images ng ant sa nakita nating pictures base sa detalye ng mga parts ng ant? For letter B, how does a microscope help in observing and studying around us? So, paano nakakatulong ang microscope para ma-observe at mapag-aralan yung mga bagay sa paligid natin? Letter C, how will you describe a microscope? Base nga dun sa picture ng microscope kanina, paano mo siya i-describe or ilalarawan or ano yung masasabi mo sa picture ng microscope, sa itsura at sa parts nito. Sa pages 3 and 4 naman, karugtong pa rin ng Activity 1. Sabi sa 3, select from the table the correct applications of the microscope in order to complete the concept map on the next page. Kanina, nag-identify tayo ng mga statements na nagpapakita ng gamit o application ng microscope. Dito, ganun din ang gagawin ninyo. Identify nyo dito sa 6 statements na ito kung alin ang tungkol sa paggamit ng microscope. Tapos, yung mapipili nyong application ng microscope, ilalagay nyo sa concept map kagaya ng nakalagay sa page 4. So, sa answer sheet ninyo, magdodrawing kayo ng ganitong concept map. Nasa gitna yung word na microscope. Tapos, may 5 boxes nakapaligid dito. Sa bawat box, isusulat nyo yung mapipili nyong application ng microscope mula sa 6 na pagpipilian. So, ayun. Before tayo mag-proceed sa next part ng lesson, gawin nyo muna yung activity number 1.
If you have questions regarding this video, leave your comment below. Or contact your teacher right away. Thank you.